Hello there, this is Brandon from Galaxy Doc Market. Today is November 8th, 2025. It's about 7:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as I make this video. And we will be reviewing what happened in the market, some of the pertinent things, and what is to come in the market trading week for November 10th through 14th. This is going to be a big week coming up, folks. And we're going to be looking ahead, and obviously based on this picture that we're looking at, crisis ahead, caution is warranted. All right, let's get into it really quick. Okay, here's the disclaimer. Pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And then, of course, thank you. Obviously, my shameless plug on x.com/galaxy.market for community members and for x.com and YouTube viewers. Come and subscribe to YouTube and also to my x.com Galaxy.market channel. All right, so let's get moving. All right, so we had a pretty topsy-turvy week, and definitely we know that the market top is in. And a lot of you might be a little freaked out by the last 2 hours of the market close on Friday, but these are nothing new. This is exactly what happens during the market tops and as the market starts to roll over, and that is exactly what's happening. And so this can be very well illustrated with this 2008 to 2009 financial crisis analog chart that I have available. If you want this chart, you have to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. For community members, it's in basically the downloads and in the chart section. Okay, so let's see where are we on this analog. Last week I said we are here. Okay. So I got my cursor back right here. That's where we were last week. And this is pretty much where we ended up this week, this Friday. And this little candle right there. And what it was that early breakdown signal. And this is not uncommon for the markets to sell off from that top, and it looked pretty promising at the beginning of the week, and on Friday they came in and rescued the market. Rescues are nothing new, and this little wick, and we're going to go over the S&P 500 charts today, and we'll go over a lot of charts actually, and to illustrate this point, this is the week that's coming up right now. That is going to be very, very concerning if you're a bull. And no, I'm not being a perma bearer. I'm just telling you that this is how the market works, is that you're going to have this significant sell-off followed by either a little bit of short covering, profit taking towards the end of the day, but also stick saves that are happening. This market is tremendously manipulated with printed money. The Federal Reserve Bank continues to prop up the banks with printed money. And while the government stays shut down, this is what both President Trump and the Federal Reserve are doing, okay, to keep the illusion alive of the strength in the marketplace. And I'm trying to have you guys all buy into the fact that there's nothing to see here. Look over there. Let's talk about the government shutdowns. Let's talk about Ozempic. Copays coming down after RFK Jr. So famously touted all of its side effects and dangers of that drug. And now the copays coming down. They just don't want you to pay attention to what's happening here. And to add a little flavor to the end of the Friday's close, they basically did a jam session right back into the inflection point. We will talk about that in this as we move forward on this channel. But the one that you want to really think about is that everything rhymes. It's not exact, but when you actually see what is coming over the next few weeks, okay, this is going to be next week right here. And understand this, okay, we're going to have a situation where on Monday, if we don't sell off right away, we're going to have a little pop. And then probably by Tuesday, we're going to have resumption of the selling, and it will be sharp and going into the remainder of the November month. And then after November, we're going to have a little rally into the December and probably a little sell-off. And then after January, we're just going to completely come down. I understand that this sequence is from May 12th. This is why I say it rhymes. It's not exact, okay? But this is following this analog. And, when you do cycle analysis and chart analysis, this is exactly what you see. And so if you really want another example, although we're not here yet, this is pretty much where we are, right? Look at the dates. We're on the 10th, and then we had a little pop, and then we started to sell off, and then we had a little bit of a rescue into the end of the month and end of the week, and then next week promises to be these. What I'm trying to illustrate is we are in a downtrend. We have a crisis on our hands with this incessant money printing, the government shutdowns, the banking liquidity crisis. The Asian markets are going absolutely nuts. If you want further proof, let's look at what Blackstone is, kind of telling you. Besides all the other stuff that are coming out, Blackstone is offloading, flopped $1.8 billion investment in senior housing. Who thought that would be such a great idea to be dumping allocation of these capital into building millions, hundreds of thousands of these senior citizen development projects? Okay, these are the signs of times, and when there's too much liquidity, misallocation of capital occurs, and that is what's happening. Okay, so we went through this. Okay, if you want a little bit closer to the date, this is pretty much what I think is going to happen. It's just that we're at the early stages right up here. Okay, all of this is coming soon in 2026, and if you think that the bull market is about to start, or that little close on Friday is an indication of what is to come, I've got news for you. You're going to get hurt. Okay, be careful. All right, so let's move on to the next one. And the reason why I keep saying that is that, yes, the dollar popped, okay, a little bit after the FOMC rate cut, and then we are beginning to sell off again. We're back below par, which is 199.56, and I think we're moving lower again as the 10-year yield basically should have been at, they're trying to get it down to 36.50. They can't even get it below 39.47. Fed cuts 25 basis points, okay, and we're moving higher, folks. The system is breaking right before your eyes, and these two relationships are all you need to see. Dollars falling again after a brief spike above 100, and then the 10-year yield is rising. Folks, this is where we closed. Should be very ominous to everybody, even with half an understanding of how the debt market and monetary system works. Understanding that this 10-year yield rising post FOMC cut, that's the whole idea, is to bring this 10-year yield down. It's not working. Why? Because there's too much systematic corruption, manipulation, and money printing that's still ongoing. And, this whole concept of controlling inflation and maximum employment, both from President Trump and the Fed, it's bunk. Okay, the system is dying. They just don't want you to know about it. The whole issue with that situation is that if you look carefully about what the elites are doing, what people are saying to you, what Warren Buffett is doing, what the insiders are doing, they are all selling. Okay, so this is post-Fed cut right here. And I'm still very, very bullish on silver, just because it's not moving up in a crazy fashion. All it's done over the last few weeks has been, that it's been moving sideways after basically the slam crew came in and slammed the silver down. Now, the whole aspect of this is that the LBMA and COMEX continues to have supply shortages. The United States has now officially passed silver as a strategic metal. Okay, and these have silver, unlike gold, has a lot of industrial applications as well. It is the most suppressed asset in the world, yet we are holding this 48 level like a champ. Okay, I believe as the crisis starts to surface with these banks that are basically becoming insolvent, all the corruption in the the debt market, you talk about the subprime auto lending. It goes beyond that. It's in the commercial mortgage-backed industry. It's in the residential mortgages. It's everywhere, folks. Okay, and Jamie Dimon famously said there are more cockroaches ahead, and continue to watch Carvana, the kingpin of subprime auto loans. And this miraculous turnaround was based on the backs of these subprime auto loans that they are not sharing with you, but it is coming to the surface now. All right, so silver. Going back to silver is that it's building energy to move higher in the breakout zone. It's at 48.145. It's unchanged for the week. Building energy to move higher, folks. Okay. All right, let's go over into charts really quick. Okay. So let's go into our 1 hour charts, and then I will illustrate to you exactly what is happening. And a lot of you are freaked out by this coming into this, the line in the sand moment. It just got close to it and then it bounced higher. That's not at all not surprising. I mean, NQ really never really got to this point and then decided to bounce. But regardless, they obey all of these support and resistance or pivot levels. Now, on the ES, yes, they were able to get above this, basically the inflection point, below which, if they allowed this market to close below, then we would have had a massive implosion in the markets when the futures markets opens up on the 10th of November. 9th of November, sorry. Okay, that's Sunday. All right. So these type of rips higher is not an indication of a market bottom. Rather, there is an instability and manipulation going on as the insiders sell. Okay, we will probably hit these inflection points. Maybe ES goes a little higher and it will start to sell off probably by Tuesday, if not on Monday. Okay, these type of rips into the close or the last 2 to 3 hours of the market is what we call plunge protection team action. Okay, Trump does not want to see the markets come down. The Fed does not want to see the markets go higher because they have to defend the 10-year yield. That's all there is. This is the battle between Trump and Powell. You're seeing it right here, right now. Okay. Now, I've always been advocating that the cryptos were on sale. Here's Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, yes, I believe that this is making higher lows and that we are about to break out higher. Okay, we are going to see significant parabolic moves in safe haven assets, including Bitcoin, XRP, XDC, WLFI, although that's a little speculative, and Litecoin, which I'm very, very fond of lately. And it's basically going to move higher with gold and silver as the markets start to decline. This is the movement of money into safe haven assets. We talked about the dollar, and everyone thinks that dollar is a safe haven asset. No, it's not. It's a race to zero as every country devalues their currency, hyperinflates it to buy these safe haven assets. Speaking of safe haven assets, we basically have a situation now of gold having put in on the hourly inverse head and shoulders. Yes, we do need to get above this level right here. Absolutely, we need to get above there. Okay, we have a lot of work to do. I mean, they did a massive silver slam crew action, did they not? And so this is where we need to get above. And for silver, we're a lot closer. But silver really does have a bona fide, and even if you look at it from a longer term perspective, and we got these inverse head and shoulders, we got inverse head and shoulders within an inverse head and shoulders. Guys, this is telling you what's going on. Take advantage of these, okay? I like physicals, but if you want to play with futures, then this is the buy point. Okay, you just got to have a lot of patience, and henceforth, that's what my title of the video is, right? Markets look ahead. It's like we're gonna need patience for this to work itself out, but writing's on the wall. All right, the regional banking index realistically is trading in a channel like this, okay, up and down, up and down. It's because the Fed is basically injecting liquidity into this dog crap of an index filled with regional banks, filled with fraud, filled with non-performing debt assets. This is what happens. Okay, I'm not going to talk about natural gas right now. We already know that TNX is rising higher despite the rate cuts. Okay, VIX really, They did a nice job of getting it to 22.25. We hold $20 calls on these. But, VIX is very volatile. It goes up and down and up and down. But guess what? We're making higher lows. We're moving higher, folks. All right. My cycle turn date is October 31st to November 8th, which happens to reside on Saturday. Okay. Which means that we should be looking at something pre-market. I'm not sure. Is it going to happen sometime next week? Yes. But now we are in that turn zone. Can I be wrong? Of course I could be wrong. Okay. There's nobody in the markets that are going to be 100% because we're fighting a rigged system, folks. This is all that is. Let's continue to look at some of our, 1 hour charts in the equity side. Okay. So what we got is SMCI. Okay. This was one of our featured trades. We targeted about 38.53, shot down a little bit to 38.14. Okay, these bounces are not bottoming bounces. These are reflexive, manipulated, short covering bounces into the weekend. That's all there is. These are algo driven. These are not a reflection of what the markets are going to come. Markets are not going to go down in a straight line, and we see these very, very commonly. Okay. Like I said, these are some of the things that we're watching, okay? One thing that I will pay attention to is Rocket Labs, especially with these these things about people talking about, the aliens and UFOs and space travel. Elon Musk was talking about something about that this week, okay? Pay attention to this company. Very, very significant. Okay, I'm looking at BYND, not for not to invest, but there's a lot of drama right now in BYND with JP Morgan having almost $200 million worth of call positions. Watch this. This may be an acquisition target. Okay. Now here's the SQQQ. This is something that I'm very keen on. I said that, hey, look, this looks like a cup and a handle right here, and surely enough, as it was breaking out, they slam it back down. Remember, this is inversely proportional to the QQQs. Okay, this is triple X leveraged ETF that has options that you can trade on. So this is going to move like a banshee. However, what happened is that this is the last 2 hours. They brought it back down below this inflection point. Above this inflection point, it's going to be a problem for the bulls. Sorry about the hoarseness. I have no idea why I get so froggy, but it's really frustrating. But anyways, all of this is a reflection of the manipulation, but also that the market is unstable. Okay. And so we've got a situation now where we're basically forming a nice cup formation, right? Okay. We're probably going to chop around here and then we're going to start moving higher. We will take out these levels. Okay. In short order. When the market sell-off happens, SQQQ is going to be moving like ETF options and futures on steroids, folks. Okay? All right, so let's move on into SPY, a little bit deeper dive into this. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. It has gone right into this support level, broke below the 50-day moving average. This is a daily chart. All right, folks. All right. These patterns are not going to go away. I mean, we're below the 80 MA. Everything is curling down. It basically try to regain above this level. It might try to retest into that 20 SMA on Monday, and it will fail. Okay. The next time down, you see the Bollinger Bands compressing from an uptrend. We're moving down, folks. Okay, RSI is negative. We have a MACD that is fully negative. Okay, don't let this quote unquote bullish volume fool you. All the distribution is occurring. They just want to fool you into thinking that the bottom is in, maybe bounce it up for a day and then bring it back down. Okay, we are in the cycle turn date, folks. All right. For a better picture, if you look at the weekly, you know that basically we topped here. This looks awfully like that the chart that I've shown you, right? This looks awfully like the 2008-2009 analog chart, doesn't it? Okay, we are going to basically we're finding support right now from this uptrend line. The ADMA is beginning to curl over. Okay, it would not be very difficult for this to start targeting the 647 level next week, maybe even lower into the 630. Who knows? Okay. Those black swans are swimming everywhere, and these are some of these targets. If you don't think that I'm not ES, but SPY can take out 100 points in a week, I got news for you. It can, and it's coming, folks. All right. Here's McClellan Summation Index. Okay, my favorite momentum indicator. This is also the basis for the Hindenburg Omen. There's 5 clusters that have hit in over the last 3 weeks. Okay, those are too close for comfort. And Hindenburg Omen, not always. Okay, there's a lot of false signals there, but given the macroeconomic picture of what's happening and that those are firing every day based off of McClellan Summation Index, we are in this zone right here. Okay, as it starts to move down, markets will sell off. Okay, now people may say, well, yeah, it is on a downward slope, but look at, there's a divergence here. No. This thing is moving lower, folks. MACD is negative. Pay attention to this. All right. Now, let's go right into silver. Where are we on silver? Okay, I think we're finding support right at this green line, which is ADMA, aren't we? Okay, everything is bullish. All we did was have a technical pullback. We're going to move this way and then move higher. This is our weekly chart. There is a positive divergence that is forming. Okay, as long as this RSI, okay, everyone's talking about this as being a overbought, oversold indicator. It is not. It is just a momentum indicator. We've pulled back to this level. I think we're ready to move higher. Okay, so this is where we are with silver. Let's look at silver in a longer term monthly chart. Okay, silver slam crude does not want this thing above this red line, which is 47.95, 48-ish, right? And we're about at 48.33. Once it reclaims this, we're not going to spend a lot of time in those 50s. My $68 to $82 target still remains, and I believe it will happen in the ensuing weeks. Okay, I know I said it's going to happen on October 28th, but you saw what the silver slam crew does. Now they're running around with their head cut off, looking for physical silver supplies that they papered over. Okay, these are nothing but paper shorts. Okay, you got to hold physical silver or gold. Speaking of gold, here we are. Okay, looks similar, doesn't it? Try to break out. Oh, it's so bearish, it's going to come all the way down. No, it's not going to do that, folks. All right, there's too much problems within the economic system and debt system. We're going to find support at ADMA. We have positive divergences. Okay, it's going to work off this MACD death hook that might be forming, but I think it's going to be short-lived, and I think we've already worked through that. All right, so MicroStrategy. I hate this company. I do not like Michael Saylor, partly because of what he did in 1999, and I think he is a grifter, but he holds a lot of Bitcoin, folks. And like I said, cryptocurrencies are safe haven assets, and I think next week they come alive. As such, MicroStrategy is sitting right on this 100-day moving average. We have some support formed right off of this breakout level. Okay. And I believe that we are going to start moving higher. This thing's going to move very, very quickly, folks. So, taking out 346 next week is not going to be a problem. Okay. And so this is something that we want to look at. What are we looking at in terms of MACD? I mean, it's still negative. But the CCI is diverging. Okay. We have the stochastic beginning to curl back over. Okay. And this PPOADX will probably start forming this type of an action. Okay, we have this beginning to curl back up under accumulation. We've been on a downward trend. We're going to be moving higher shortly. All right, so that's Carvana. Apple, we need to pay attention to Apple. Apple is pretty much SPY, right? Yeah, we topped. We're finding support right into here, making exhaustion gaps. I believe that next week we're going to start moving through. As long as we can get through this ADMA, okay, we're going to start moving higher. Okay, volume is diminishing as we go. We're kind of topping out on the RSI. It's still sort of bullish, but you can't ignore that candle right there, can you? Okay, MACD histogram is coming down. CCI is negatively diverging. Stochastics ready to curl over. PPO ADX ready to form one of these soon. Okay, it's still early. That's why we want to pay attention to Apple. Okay, and then my favorite is Carvana. Okay, Carvana is just getting started, folks. I mean, it is frustrating because we're trying to hold on to this level, but we have a rounded top formation forming. We're below the 80 MA. We're finding support right on the bottom band of the Bollinger Band. Bollinger Bands are pinching. It is basically right off of that 50-day moving average. Here are the targets. Pretty simple trade. You just got to buy a lot of time if you're using options. All right, let's look at AMD. All right, it was one of the ones that I featured last week. Okay, the AI chip stocks are going to continue to come down. We need to get below this 80 MA next week. We're going to start targeting this trend line, downtrend line. Okay, where are we? We have some volume coming down, some sell volume coming in, histogram coming down. We just need this MACD to curl over. Okay. We have CCI that's at maximum level. This is, this is very, very, what's the word? I can't remember the word. Contrarian. I found it at these levels. We have situation. The problem right now is stochastic is rolling off at the top and it is divergent to the downside. We have basically PPO ADX screaming right now that it is about to roll over on AMD. NVIDIA also, I'm just not going to feature. I just don't have enough time. So what am I talking about at this point? Pretty much the same stuff I've been preaching to everybody for months on end, for years, is that XRP is really around 234, a little below there, right? I mean, we're at like 229.50. I mean, kind of hit that 236 level, just like here. No one wants it here. You guys are all going to line up for it at $1,000 though. Sad truth. Go buy some. Go buy some XDC, XRP, Litecoin, okay? World Liberty, okay? All right, so black swans are everywhere. TNX is rising despite the Fed cut, and US dollar is beginning to fall again. Okay, this is by design, folks. Fed reverse repo is active, and it's because the banks are insolvent. I've been saying that for years. Watch the cockroaches. Okay, you're going to be surprised at what kind of debt is out there that are masquerading as AAA right now. Hindenburg Omen times 5. Warning, 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 folks. All right. Don't let that Friday close destroy your spirit. That's going to happen as the market crashes. The last hour to couple of hours, and especially the last 30 minutes, they're going to try to jam things up higher just to protect the markets from crashing. Okay, but it's going to crash. Well, so here's what we're watching. Don't sleep on gold and silver. It's positioned for a breakout. Okay, that's when it breaks out, right? 10-year yield moves higher. That's a big problem. XRP, XDC, Litecoin, WLF5 bottom is in. Bitcoin also. Proxy for Bitcoin, okay, if you want to play it synthetically, is MicroStrategy. Okay, if you're poor and you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy Bitcoin, MicroStrategy. Go, but do it. We're going to do it with options for that. Got silver, got gold. Don't sleep on precious metals, and some of the dealers have some with exorbitant spot premiums. Precious metals, you don't hold them until you own them. Okay, I mean, you don't own them until you hold them. Jesus. Well, it's actually 5 a.m. my time as I'm making this video. Okay, I'm based out of Phoenix, so okay. Even though I said it's 10 a.m. when I started this video because I have to go by Eastern time. Crash is coming end of October to November 8th. So now we're at November 8th. So what happens? Stay tuned. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Don't lose hope, folks. That little thing is a psyop at the end of the day to demoralize you, to get you to cover your shorts. That's all it is. Follow me at Galaxy.Market. Comment on, send me comments. Interact. Subscribe to YouTube. Okay. And if you want to work with me, then you have to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com or join my community in the information is in the description or profile below. All right, so that's it. Let's get some alpha. Don't let the boogeyman spook you. This is part of the process. Okay, Bye-bye.